Hey everyone, I'm Jelsy. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I am super excited. Season 9 premiered this Sunday, and I'm so happy about that. We've been waiting for this for quite some time, and the wait is over, and I'm just looking forward to stepping into this journey with the people of Hope Valley and see what this season brings. And I just can't wait. So looking forward to it. And I'm just so glad that One Calls a Heart is on television today. I feel like I always say this, but it's so needed. And it just makes my heart happy. Yeah, so let's just mention some things that happened during the premiere episode, which is titled Like a Lion. First, Elizabeth and Little Jack were in Hamilton for a month, and in the premiere episode, they come back to Hope Valley and Lucas is there to receive them. Let me just say that those Elizabeth and Lucas interactions are so cute. They're just so cute. Mr. Winkler, who's a balloonist, he has arrived in Hope Valley in this amazing hot air balloon, which I've never ridden a hot air balloon. I wonder, have y'all ridden a hot air balloon? Let me know. I would love to know your experience if you have. It looks really cool. So Mr. Winkler arrives in Hope Valley and it just sparks curiosity. Also, let's talk about Lucas for a second. He seems very preoccupied and busy at the beginning of this episode, but by the end of it, Lucas and Elizabeth are on this hot air balloon ride and he just tells her that he is not going to take on a partner in the oil business and that he wants to sell his part. He made this decision because he wants to spend more time with her and Little Jack, which is awesome. But if he made this decision right in the first episode, I'm curious to see what's next for Lucas and what's coming up, because I feel some drama is going to happen. Can I just say, I love Rosemary. I say this every season. Yeah, Lee and Rosemary are some of my faves. I love them so much, but I love Rosemary. I appreciated the fact that Rosemary, while talking to Elizabeth at the beginning of this episode, she mentions plays, and it's a reminder of how much Rosemary loves acting, and that is a integral, important part of Rosemary's character. I just love all the Rosemary scenes in this episode. They're just so funny and so Rosemary. A gentleman called Jerome Smith arrives in town. He's there in regards to the oil business. The sun is... and also Henry Gowan is in town again, and he is not happy that Jerome Smith is there. So it turns out that Henry Gowan actually worked with him in the Pacific Northwest Mining Company when Hope Valley was still Coal Valley, and it just makes me think the mine disaster that happened in the first season, and I wonder how this Jerome Smith was involved in that. So I wonder if they're going to talk more about that. I'm curious. Also, Fiona knew that Jerome and Henry knew each other. She didn't mention it to Hickam or Lucas. So also at one point, Jerome and Henry got into a tussle in the saloon. Henry is just not happy. Let's talk about Nathan for a second. Yes, I am not a huge fan of the mustache. I'm team no mustache. But yeah, so it turns out that the Mounties are now required to learn how to drive, and Nathan does not know how to drive. And it's funny because he starts asking Elizabeth to see if Lucas can teach him, but Elizabeth actually offers to teach him herself, and it just made me think, I did not know Elizabeth knew how to drive. I'm actually loving how the Nathan-Elizabeth relationship is going. I'd like to see them kidding around. Also, in this episode, we learned that Fiona dropped out of the race for mayor, which surprised me. Ned and Florence make the cutest presentation ever, and just to announce that they are going to open a new store called Yost's Pharmacy and Soda Fountain. So there's going to be a pharmacy and there's going to be ice cream. Speaking of the pharmacy, Maysu arrives in town. She's basically in a disguise and she just goes around Elizabeth's house And little Jack actually sees all of this, and she takes the disguise off and she just goes into town, and Nathan sees her and he's very intrigued. At first, I didn't understand completely the reason that Mei-Su had arrived. And when the pharmacy was revealed and I could connect one with the other, I was like, oh. So apparently the Yosts had hired Jeffrey Lewis to be the pharmacist of their pharmacy. But then she mentions that she did her studies to be a pharmacist using that name. She met Faith at her university. She studied to be a pharmacist and she graduated top of her class, which is amazing. She really wants the job, but the Yosts, even Faith, were under the impression that Jeffrey was her husband. But when they talk to her about it, she avoids the topic. So like, is Jeffrey real, or is it a name that she invented to study? We'll have to see. It was so great seeing the kids of Hope Valley back. They've grown so much. And also we've noticed that Cooper Canfield has been giving a little bit of trouble with his parents. Elizabeth has noticed a few things. Yeah, so this episode was so great, the premiere episode. I'm just so excited. Season 9. So let me know in the comments what was your favorite moment from the season premiere. I would love to know. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you on my next video. God bless. Bye.